What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 7 of the Cinematic Boys Reviews. Today we got Bilal. What's up, Bilal?
What's good? MBK and Billy. Boom,
How
boom,
you
bang.
doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How you doing, my guy?
I am doing great. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different than what we planned. We were going to, our plan was that we were going to do a review on Asante's, but it's a little bit schedule difference with that. We have seen it, but of course, that movie is a little bit hard to talk about. There's some choppy things that we shouldn't bring up. So instead, we're going to do our ranking of all of our Denis Villeneuve movies that we have been watching. So, of course, we watched 7 movies. Of course, not only that, but we're going to include Doom Part 2 also in it because where we have seen it.
Uh, I thought we saw 8 movies.
Yeah, 7 plus Doom Part 2 equals 8.
Okay, okay.
Because today we would have done Insantees, so it would have been episode 7.
All
So,
right, yeah.
so let's get right into it. So how we're going to do this is we're going to do back for Bilal's going to do his 8th. I'm going to do my 8th, and we're going to do it that way. But of course, first off, Sammy could not make it, guys. He had to. He was scheduled to work very unexpectedly. Bilal sad over here because, of course, today is probably Bilal's last episode before
Yeah.
he goes on his fasting journey for a month.
Yep.
But we're gonna be probably doing the episode for the podcast episode. He probably will show up because I got something planned for Saturday, so we can't record that day. So we could probably record that Sunday. So you probably see Bilal one more time. We might not. You never know. But let's get right to it. Bilal, what is your number 8 for the Nevo News films?
My number 8 is unfortunately Enemy. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. The execution was pretty good, for the most part, but I can't really get into the pacing of the film. Didn't really translate to the storytelling of this movie. But I did like the mystery element of that one actor doppelganger stuff that was going on inside the film. But overall, Enemy wasn't my cup of tea. I must say, I like the color grading inside of the movie with the yellow and oranges background. But the performances of Jake Gyllenhaal playing two different characters was really unique, and he really delivered great performance. But the symbolism didn't click with me. Unfortunately, Enemy comes at last. What's your number 8?
Okay, before I say my number 8, if you guys want more in-depth reviews on these, our if you're listening to audio or video, our other podcast episodes will be breaking down each of these, especially doing part 2. It's our last podcast episode that we did for the regular podcast, and we went in depth on that. But at my number 8 is also Enemy, just like you. I like the color grading on this. The story was great, but it's not as big as a Denis Villeneuve movie that I want because I think Denis did not write this one. Somebody else wrote it, but A24 wanted him to direct it because I think they saw Prisoners. But like you said, his color grading always Denis does his yellows and oranges perfect in this. The dark, grainy. It's the cinematography. The cinematography was great in this. I don't know if there was that much of a score in this, but the visuals aspect, especially with the spiders, like the spider over the city, he did great with that. But I wish we just knew more about the story, and especially with that ending. I wish we just knew that about that. But overall, Bilal, what's your 7th?
My 7, that's probably going to piss you off. I can already tell.
I already can tell what it is in my head.
I love this movie still. Don't get it wrong, but it has been Doom Part 1. I just love the other Denis Villeneuve movies better, but the thing I love about Doom Part 1 is definitely the world building. It is a beautiful looking movie. The characters are really solid. The performances all around great. Jason Momoa's action was so fantastic. I love how they used the armor shields inside the movie, especially with how they have go blue colors and then they turn to red when somebody gets hit or somebody dies. Also, Timmy Chalamet's performance was so good inside this movie. I love Paul's wishes, what they mean inside the movie. But I thought the ending was really flat. It did a good job at setting up the second part, which I love much, much more than Dune Part 1. And overall, Dune Part 1 just comes to 7. And that's my biggest hot take because me personally, I like the other Denis Villeneuve movies much better than Dune Part 1. And yeah.
So for me, my number 7, we got Cindy's, the newest movie that I watched today from Denis Villeneuve. I don't want to get into much of this movie because, of course, um, some soft topics, some topics that we should not be talking about in the public. But the camera work in this was good. You could see Denis earlier, like what he is now in this, especially with his early work with this. Um, I would just go say there's one scene at the beginning when the boy's getting his head shaved, and there's a song on, and the camera is like panning towards like the boy's face. I think one of the best shots in the movie. It really, and the boy's emotion on his face, it just like you could feel it, like with the song and the boy's face. You could tell that this movie is going to be dark, perfect, dark, gritty, brutal, gruesome. It has everything in this movie, and you feel it through the runtime. The twist at the end, I was not expecting that. Okay, the twist is shocking, but I expected it a little bit, like probably 45 minutes before the movie ended, because there was just some things I started catching on real quick with it. But of course, this is Denis' last French English film. So of course you're gonna be reading subtitles with this. So if you guys are not like a subtitle reader, you guys don't like to do that during movies. I suggest not to watch this because you guys will probably not like it. But if you guys do read subtitles during um like foreign language movies, great movie to watch. I gave it 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, but Enemy, so 5 out of 5 for Sandies, and Enemy I gave 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
But for me, that's mostly it. Without getting into any spoiler territory, but Bilal, what do you have? Okay, first of all, Bilal, what's your rankings for Dune and Enemy?
Enemy 3.5, Dude 4.5.
Okay, Bilal, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is Arrival. I just give this movie a 5 out of 5. I love the alien design inside this film. Amy Adams' performance was out of this world. She was incredible inside this movie. It shocks to me that she didn't win an Oscar for this performance. I love the meanings behind the memories of her, uh, of of the wishes that she sees inside this movie, and the twist having more of a deeper meaning of those meanings, and such a beautiful movie that in the same time it's haunting, especially with a twist that I would love to talk about, but I'm going to keep this spoiler free for anyone who hasn't seen Arrival. But Arrival is one beautifully shot, uh, incredibly written film with fantastic performances all around. And Arrival is a fantastic Denis Villeneuve movie.
So for my number 6, I also got Arrival. So if we want to go into any spoilers, just say spoiler warning for any of our viewers. And of course, for your video, I will put a running time like chapters in the description so you guys can split it up. But this movie for like Denise, like I think it was Denise like technically first sci-fi movie, wasn't it?
Second sci-fi movie, because I consider Enemy sci-fi.
Okay, but like full sci-fi, not like the drama sci-fi aspect.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is like technically Denise like first full sci-fi movie. He did so great in this. Um, I'm just gonna say it's not a big spoiler. It rains a lot in this movie. Um, and I'm glad this up like CGI rain or like put a layer kind of like they do in the editing room. He actually went out. He shot this in the rain. The CGI in this is good. The story is excellent. Like especially from the beginning to what you find out. Plot twist. Denis loves plot twists in his movies. The plot twist at the end, it connects it all the way back to the whole entire story. And spoiler warning right there, by the way, so I could tell what these are. So the visions that Amy Adams' character has, of course, at the end, and we find out it's her future because of aliens. Because of course, when they come down to Earth and the stuff that they like their language, um, of course, once the humans figure it out, it's a they say it's a weapon. It's not a weapon. It's something to help the humans because, of course, they can look into the future and it will help them out. Because I think that's the best thing because you can see Amy Adams going from like a professor in the college to like one of the most valuable people in the world because of this knowledge that she has finally learned from the aliens. But the CGI is good. This movie is good, even though it's a number six. Then these new movies are so good, it's hard to rank them because even though it's a number six, like I could watch these, all of these, um, probably in Cindy's and Enemy is probably some one-time watches, but from Arrival up, I could watch these all over again. But below, with that being said, Bilal, what is your number five?
My number five is Insantees. It's a haunting film. 3 to 4 runtime. It doesn't tell you what country this movie takes place, but I did some research on it. It takes place during the Lebanese Civil War, and it showcases the horrors of the movie. At that war in such a compelling, engaging way. The characters have this really emotional arc, especially with a twist in the end. And it's an important movie to watch, especially with these things still happening in this world, and something that is a hard movie to watch, yeah, but you can learn something from it, and that's why I appreciate Insanity so much. And it's coming at number five.
So my number five right now is Prisoners, and like I said before, Prisoners is a great movie. It's just the need makes some good movies. I like the performances of Hugh Jackman, Paul Dano, Jake Gyllenhaal. I forgot his name for a second.
You
They
forgot
all
Jake
did.
Gyllenhaal's name?
Yeah, I forgot. I forgot. I like look around his face. I'm like,
Damn.
who is this dude? I'm literally looking at the poster and I'm like, who is this dude right now? I've seen him in a whole bunch of movies. But Jake Gyllenhaal, Hugh Jackman, Paul Dano, Viola Davis. This cast is stacked, and they give some great performances. The story in this it hooks you right in the beginning, especially if you're parents or like a father. This story will hook you right in. It's of course just not spoilers, just as like a little synopsis. Um, two parents, two families, their daughters get taken away, and they're trying to find them. And of course, Hugh Jackman is the main character in this. One of his daughters get taken, and you can see the raw emotion from the beginning to the end of what it will be like from a father from his performance. And of course, Jake Gyllenhaal is a Detective Loki, by the way, and this gives a great aspect of I think what a detective does during like a crime investigation. But not only that, but Mr. Davis Dallas Munchen seems like he's in every Denis Villeneuve movie so far. Gives also a great, excellent performance in this. But beginning to end, I was always hooked. And of course, this comes at number five. Bilal, what is your number four?
My number four is also going to be controversial. You have the poster in the background. Dune Part 2, man. Again, I love this movie. It's a 5 out of 5. I just like the other three Disney movies better, but this movie does a fantastic job of see him. I see him like get pissed. Anyways, this movie does a fantastic job of
No, I'm not pissed. I'm just like I'm just shocked right now. Like, what did I just hear?
anyways, this movie does insanely great job expanding this world. The sound mixing is so good. But I just love the performances in this movie. Zendaya brings her A game inside this movie as Jenny. She was fantastic. Austin Butler was an absolute menace as Fate, such a psychotic performance. Really want to see him tackle on more villain roles in the future. Timothy Chalamet was so great inside this movie. Also, the cinematography inside this movie is probably the best cinematography I ever seen in a movie. And I also really appreciate that this movie takes its time to tell a compelling story. It doesn't rush anything inside this movie. And Hans Zimmer's score, perfection. But I just like other three Disney movies better. But it's still excellent sci-fi film that I highly recommend everyone watch.
Okay. With that being said, my number 4 is Sicario.
Ooh.
Oh, Sicario. This movie, man. I'm a little bit mad that Denis didn't pick up Sicario 2, but I will explain later why. This movie, it hits a hard topic of the drug cartel in Juarez, Mexico right now in the movie. And Denis like tells the full story, especially with Emily Blunt, Benito del Toro, Josh Brolin, Daniel Kaluuya, another stack cast. But like you said, the cinematography, you probably explained it later. The cinematography in this, it's good. It's dark. It's grainy. It's gritty. It describes the movie perfectly. Um, the script in this, there's no problems in the script. Perfect acting. No bad dialogue. The dialogue is good. It's gripping. It will keep you on the edge of your seat. But the ending, you will be shocked. You will love this ending. You'll get like it's like satisfaction a little bit from this ending after you feel watch this whole story from the beginning all the way to that part where you get the ending. But overall, this is still a good Denis movie, even though it's at 4. And I from 4, I think from 5 to 1, I love these movies. Like on Letterboxd, I put a little heart on them. That's how much I love these movies. But Bilal, with that being said, what's your number 3?
My number three is Prisoners. First of all, Hugh Jackman's performance was fantastic. Also, I love uh like this father's daughter has been kidnapped and having that emotional father doing everything he wants to get his daughter back was gut wrenching. It just hits you so hard. And there's so many moments that had me like that had pissed me off in this movie, but it was so well written. Uh, this movie gave me chills down my spine, particularly the scene with Hugh Jackman and Paul Dano. That scene was excellent, where he's just hitting a hammer on that thing beside Paul Dano, and it just shows this character of the character that Hugh Jackman plays shows how much he wants his daughter back and how much he loves his daughter, but how crazy he's getting to get his daughter back. And then you have Detective Loki, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, delivering such a great performance. And everyone in this movie was fantastic. The cinematography inside this movie was excellent, and this movie kept me engaged from the beginning to the end. And the ending is so haunting, but you could pinpoint your own ending to it. It's such a fantastic Denis Villeneuve movie. Also, love the score of Prisoners.
So that was your number 3. So my number 3 is a sequel to one of the greatest sci-fis during the 80s, of course. Of course, it's Blade Runner 2049. Dude, this movie's it. This movie's not totally it, but this movie has some aspects of being it. Even though it has long run time, you get caught in the story. It hooks you straight from beginning to end. The visuals and the cinematography, the need with its bright colors, good grief, it captures you in. The acting, like I said before, in all these movies is good. You got Ryan Gosling, Harrison Ford, Ana de Armas, Jared Leto. Oh, Jared Leto. Oh, you know how I feel about Jared Leto. If you guys have
I don't
listened
like
to the
Jared
podcast,
Leto, but he was actually good in that movie. Not gonna lie.
I don't know who plays the woman. Jared Leto's henchman.
Love,
Love, good actress too in this.
such a lovely character.
But this movie, the color palette, the cinematography, the score, the music, Hans Zimmer, Mr. Hans Zimmer. This is the first taste we get of Mr. Hans Zimmer, and it's woo! Raise the roof, Hans Zimmer. Let's go. He does good in this movie. This is why Hans Zimmer is my favorite composer of all time. Listen to this physical copy, by the way. Get a physical copy, by the way. You guys would not miss the sound in this. Of course, the story. Um, Denis does a good job connecting this movie to the original Blade Runner by Ridley Scott. It connects very well. It shows the story. It's not like Denis. I looked this was this to this the other day. Denis doesn't want to do another project ever by another director, kind of like how he did with this one. Because he said when he did this movie, he felt so much pressure on his back because, of course, Ridley Scott's Blade Runner is like one of the greatest sci-fis, not one of the greatest sci-fis ever, not the greatest sci-fi ever. So he had the pressure on his back to make it better or as good as Ridley Scott's. But overall, great movie. Bilal, what is your number 2?
My number two is Sicario, and I'm a thriller action buff. That's my taste in movies. And Sicario was one of the most stressful movies I've ever seen. From the beginning to the end, I couldn't catch my breath. And Denis Villeneuve just has a score. He has a beautiful cinematography. We have great performances by everyone. Emily Blunt, she was great inside this film. Del Toro was so menacing inside this movie, especially during the end. And also, my God, the line delivery by the characters was so fantastic. Also, the story just showcases the horrors of the drug cartel in Mexico in such a harsh and haunting way as well that you really feel the emotions of these characters, but you also feel the environment through Denis Villeneuve's great directing style for Sicario. It's my second favorite Denis Villeneuve movie. Yep.
Okay, so for my number 2, we got two of the best movies. So of course, let's go. Dune Part 1 is my number 2. Denis Villeneuve has took his passion of Dune since he was 13. He has made this movie stack cast again. I'm not going to say you guys know who's in this movie. Denis does a good job because if you look from his movie and David Lynch's movie, Denis knocks it out of the park. Um, the visuals in this, um, I'm glad he actually filmed this on location in Jordan. Besides doing like a screen room, kind of think like David Lynch did with his Dune. The sandworms in this done great. The sandworm. We only get one thing of the sandworm in this. Zendaya, Javier Bardem, great in this. The score, I'm just gonna say Hans Zimmer with the Dune movies with Denis, great scores. But I'm not gonna really get into spoilers about this one because you know what, you guys probably know what my number one is, so I won't go into some spoilers on that. But Bilal, what is your number one? Your best
Mine,
Denis Villeneuve, your favorite one?
my favorite one is still Blade Runner 2049. The vibrant colors, the futuristic take on California was so incredible to see. I saw this movie the first time in the movie theater, but this movie has this meaning of finding through identity and themes of loneliness that you see inside this movie that really translate with me in such an emotional level, especially with Ryan Gosling's fantastic performance as Officer K. Also, that mystery element of who is a replicant, who is a real human, what does it mean to be a human, and what does it mean to be a replicant. It gives me those questions, and I want those answers, and Blade Runner 2049 just delivers those. Uh, the action when it comes, it hits so hard. Pause. I also really appreciate the color grading because there's some scenes that is like orange and there's some scenes that are really colorful, but there's some scenes that gets really dark and gritty. I really appreciate that. Also, that flying car is so well done together, and also Dave Bautista in the beginning.
Oh
My
yes,
God, he was so good inside this movie. Blade Runner 2049 is a slow movie, but it takes its time with so many meanings and symbolism that you could really take a lot from this movie. And I really appreciate that Denis takes his time with this movie to tell such a beautiful story of finding your true identity and themes of loneliness that I really translate to the story overall.
but of course you guys know my number one is it's back here. It's Doom Part Two. This movie
Predictable.
This movie is the best movie of all time. It's the greatest sci-fi movie of all time. There is no glazing out of me right now. I am 100%. It's fact. I am right all the time, especially about this one. But heck, forget about it. Spoiler warning right now.
Pay.
No, I am not getting paid, y'all. I am
Pay.
broke. I am broke as hell. But I'm just gonna go right into spoilers because I can't describe this movie without spoilers. Hans Zimmer is the fucking goat. He is he is the boss of composers because I don't know why I like the first score for the movie for the score for the first movie, but this score with every scene had you on the edge of your seat. The color grading, Denis does it well. Like for example, the beginning of this movie, there's like it's like really orange dark, like a dark orange. Even though it's a little bit hard, I think, for some other people to probably see this scene, but he does great at it. He went back to Jordan to film this one again. Great idea. The sandworms. There's three of these. The CG, he does great with them, especially at the very end when Paul is riding the sandworm. Pause. Um, he
Pause.
is, yeah, pause, big pause. When he was riding the sandworm, you, every detail on the sandworm was like it was good. It was not like oh over here like crap over here, crap over here. It looks like an actual worm like you would picture in the desert if you like were in that universe. Um, Timothy Chalamet, he was born to play Apollo Atreides. He gives an excellent performance as the Lisa El Gaib. Um, Javier Bardem, his
Make that
comedic
knife chip and
chip and
shatter.
shatter. Javier Bardem in this was funny.
Biggest hype band ever.
Yes, this man, literally, Timmy Paul Atreides could do anything. He'd be like, Lisa El Gaib. I'm like, he was good. Zendaya was a lot more in this movie. I loved it. Her performance was great. Um, Florence Pugh, we got a little bit screen time with her. Excellent. Now we got to talk about the man, Austin Butler. This dude, he gave a menacing, great performance as Faye Ralpha. Um, as you said, may the knife chip and shatter. He ate that
I,
role.
that was a terrible impression, though.
Okay, I'm not
Oh,
gonna do
no.
it that way, but I don't embarrass myself in front of everybody right now. But when I haven't thought of this when we even did our podcast episode, but when we first meet him, it I think one of the best introductions to a character ever because it shows you who Fade Rafa is and how brutal he is. Um, Josh Brolin, he's actually good in this.
Gurney.
We go Gurney, Mr. Gurney is good in this. Dave Batista is Drax. He's literally Drax in this movie. He's yelling at a bunch of things. I heard somebody else say, I'm like, you're right. This dude's just Drax.
Oh, I mean, especially well, he's not Drax when you see him like smashing somebody's head like
No,
menacingly.
that is Drax.
That's sort of Drax.
Um, Stellan Skarsgård as the Baron. Yeah, till the end when he sees the Emperor, then he's like bears back a little bit. That ending though, the last 15 minutes of this movie is probably some of the greatest last 50 minutes of a movie ever. I could put this on repeat, watch it, enjoy it. I am so glad I get to finally see this movie in IMAX on Saturday, especially because it'll be my first time rewatch. But of course, in IMAX, I will get the full IMAX experience of the visuals, the score. I'm so excited for that. But that's it for Doom Part 2 because I don't need to hype up this movie too much. But that is it for our rankings for Denis Villeneuve.
All right.
Well, how do you feel that we have got through the Denis Villeneuve part of our review journey?
Oh yeah, it feels good. It feels good.
I am glad I watched more of his films because, especially like watching Doom Part 2, I see more of his stuff in it. And I think if I didn't ever watch his other movies.
True. Yeah.
But
Same here. Um.
but guys, with that being said, is this is the end of episode 7 of the Cinemac Boys reviews. So get into a little bit into our future episodes. Like I said before, Bilal might show up on this week's podcast episode. I don't know. We might have to check in on that. Either I will do it with him or I'm gonna try to do it with Sammy. Um because of course I'm seeing Doom Part 2 with Sammy. So I kind of want to get his thoughts on Doom Part 2 because of course he said he was going to share them with everybody. So I might be doing the episode with him because it might be a in-person episode too. It's not going to be a Zoom call probably. So if we can do that, Bilal took his glasses off, of course. Um, but
Glasses. What you mean glasses? I wear glasses.
okay, yeah. If you guys are watching the video version of this, you know what I'm talking about. But so our podcast episode will be that. Of course, I'll probably review Kung Fu Panda 4. I'm gonna try to see it Friday. Me and Sammy will be talking about Doom Part 2 though. But if it's of course if the episode's with Bilal, well of course we'd be talking about Kung Fu Panda 4. Of course the trailers, movie news, all sorts of that. So with it being the end of our Denis Villeneuve journey with reviews, our next episode will be, of course, episode 8. We will be starting doing the Monster Universe, which, of course, is the Godzilla Kong universe. So our first review next week will be Godzilla 2014 by Gareth Edwards.
Oh, speaking of
So,
Gary Edwards, he's doing Thoracic City, which is interesting.
okay. So I need to. It's been a long time. I think it's been 3 years since I watched the first Godzilla. That was my first time watch because I watched all the movies right before Godzilla versus Kong came out. But I was not like in my it's kind of more of like just a watch movie just to get to the other movies. It's not like I was like full fledged like in my film talker, film reviewer stage. It's like I was just like enjoying soaking it in. But Garrett Edwards right now so far, I haven't watched Rogue One yet. I definitely need to try to watch that.
Oh, that's a
Um,
rare Star Wars movie I've seen. That's funny.
that's the only one I haven't seen. I've seen all the others. That's the only one I haven't seen. Um, but of course I watched Creator. He did great with Creator. I actually liked the Creator.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know why a lot of people don't like that one.
but I think what I have to see if he's good with Jurassic City is how I feel about Godzilla. Because of course, besides like the Creator and like Rogue One, they're like sci-fi movies. Godzilla is a dinosaur monster movie. Of course, that's what he's going to be doing in Jurassic City. But guys, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great week, a great day, as Bilal says, a great year.
Yeah,
But
he's MBK out.